Welcome to my weekly live. Let's see where we are. Today we may not have very good image because my internet is not very strong. So you can see this as a radio show today, as an audio show, more than an actual live, because this internet is just not giving, and that's all we have for the moment. It's great to have you here, wherever you are, whoever you are. And this is Sanem speaking from Istanbul. So today, I decided to talk about Twitter and social media issues. Last week I was too theoretical. I'm sorry if I've bored you. Hello, Ufuk. Thank you. You're welcome. Good evening. So yeah, last week I was a bit too theoretical. So this week I'm gonna be a bit more observational, factual. And I'm gonna sing Turkish Arabesque. And I will talk about some issues that go well with Turkish Arabesque. Actually, today I'm gonna sing you some songs that are my guilty pleasures, you know. These are songs with quite bad lyrics. Songs that oftentimes I don't feel like singing them because the lyrics are so horrible that I don't feel like repeating them, or, you know, I don't feel like preferring them. But I think with today's subjects, they fit well. Because today I'm gonna be talking about a bad place. Twitter. Ex-Twitter. Does anyone use Twitter? Have you been using Twitter? Or X with its new name? It was one of the groundbreaking social media platforms, and it entered our lives in the early 2010s. I think for every country it will have a different story with certain similarities. It appeared in the early 2010s, and you will remember that at the time we were talking about Twitter as if it would bring a new dimension to our public life, as if it would make everything different. Because it seemed like communication was changing, people were instantly able to communicate and hear from each other, wherever they are and whatever they were doing. Actually, when it first appeared, it benefited social movements quite drastically. Like, you remember the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring had to do with the new social media tools, the new tools that we later started to call social media. Twitter was a huge thing, especially in 2013 during the big demonstrations in Turkey. I remember in 2013 there were big demonstrations in Brazil as well. You know, demonstrations against authoritarian governments, where people went out to the streets and democratically protested and wanted to make their voices heard. There were times when this kind of protest still seemed to make sense. In the time that has passed, everything has gone worse, but we are protesting less because these things have to do with technologies and with tools, and they have to do with the possibility of violence and the feeling of safety that we have. Yeah. yeah. So at the time it was nice. I remember I first started using Twitter, and by using I mean just reading Twitter, during in December 2011. In December 2011, there was a massacre in the southeastern border of Turkey. A group of people and mules, people, humans and donkeys and mules, they had been massacred by warplanes, by Turkish warplanes, who had perhaps mistaken them for armed groups or terrorists, as with their saying. But these people were just smugglers who had been carrying goods in and out of the border from Iraq into Turkey, or from Iran, Iraq, Turkey. It was the region that was bordering all of these three countries, that little triangle on the edge of Turkey, uniting Iran and Iraq and Turkey. So these people had been bombed by warplanes, but all information pertaining to this event was heavily censored in mainstream media. So on that day, I had gone on Twitter for the first time to find out information about what was happening, because it was not possible to find anything in newspapers or in TVs. So that's how I started doing Twitter. But I never felt quite comfortable in that place. Like, I didn't write so much. I would occasionally, go in there to laugh and to follow the jokes, but somehow I never felt comfortable in Twitter. I was more an Instagram person. Or, even TikTok, I think, would be better than Twitter at any moment, because it felt like it always felt like a place where people wanted to fight, they wanted to pick fights, and they wanted to attack each other. And, even when you like writing, that form of writing, short sentences, quick replies, people who are acting on emotion, like emotion and impulsive emotions, it didn't make it easy to actually run a discussion. Like, it wasn't conducive to thought and to proper dialogue. That's why I never really felt that it was my place. And I just didn't use it as much. Though, interestingly, it never lost its relevance. Like, Twitter stays relevant to this day. But even back then, even before Elon Musk took over, it was a place where, it looked like a place where people brought in their emotions to fight with each other, rather than actually having dialogue and thinking of things or changing things, changing their ideas, because a dialogue is nice when you have the room to change your opinions, or to actually influence someone else's opinions, or to to have the chance to say, maybe you're right, I had never seen it this way, maybe I should consider your perspective too, etc. This is how a dialogue works, how a proper conversation works, and it's nice when communication works like this. But Twitter somehow had never been the place to do this thing. And then what happened was, then Elon Musk took over. And it became a much, much more horrible place. It's quite interesting that people can just buy public spaces like this and do whatever they want with them. I think we will suffer the consequences of this period for a long time. Because not only they can buy Twitter and do whatever they want with it, they can also think of colonizing the moon and of doing whatever they want with it. And all of these are public goods, they're common goods. who owns the platform should not make a big difference, but it is making a big difference. I don't know if you were paying attention, but I happened to pay attention this week that mobs were incited in Belfast in Northern Ireland, which is a part of the United Kingdom. I think someone was stabbed, like something happened. Some person of migrant origin who also happened to have black or brown skin stabbed a white guy. And then Twitter took over. Elon Musk, the guy who has bought the platform, he himself personally incited the people, asked them to go and protest and to demonstrate and to maybe not to attack, but to show something, to show their presence on the street. So they actually incited people to go and riot. They incited the locals to riot against migrants. So this is how they used Twitter last week. And it feels quite interesting that this kind of thing has become okay. And it is entering into our repertoires slowly, our repertoires of violence. The knowledge of what is doable, what is acceptable, what is feasible is changing rapidly. And rich people inciting masses to riot against different identity groups is entering our violence repertoire. Not that this is something entirely new. This is something that exists. Like the most obvious example that comes to my mind is the Septembriana, the September incidents in Turkey in 1955, where mainstream media carried out an operation to incite a Turkish mob and to make them riot and attack the shops and the persons of non-Muslims in Istanbul. In 1955, it was the Cyprus situation, as usual, with this kind of rioting in Turkey, with this kind of anti-Christian sentiment after the Second World War. It was something that, something was cooking about Cyprus, something was boiling. And the Turkish government at the time had the idea that it would be nice to incite some riots, to show some force, to show some muscle, so that the Greeks would think twice before doing anything on Cyprus. So the idea they had about this was to publish some fake news on a Turkish newspaper, a fake news that said Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's house had been attacked in Thessaloniki, that it had been torched, and that the Turkish nation should respond to this provocation. The Turkish nation actually did not care so much. So the government, in addition to publishing fake news, they also had to bring in crowds from outside of the city to the city center and to motivate them to attack the shops and houses of non-Muslims. So it was pretty much an orchestrated campaign. It doesn't mean that nobody autonomously joined in. People might have joined in by their own will, because obviously there are various reasons to riot and to loot. And we should never forget that non-Muslims in Istanbul were known as a rich population group. Therefore, looting their shops and houses offered something extra, it offered the opportunity to actually make some benefit, to get some benefit. But what's striking is that in addition to fake news, they still had to bring in a lot of people from the inside, a lot of men, so that they would carry out the rioting and the looting. Therefore, it's not a a new technology inciting mob violence through media action, through fake news. It's not new technology. We know these things. But what is interesting today is that it's Elon Musk himself, the guy who just recently turned a trillionaire and who's meddling in the affairs of the UK, who is actually going on the platform that he owns for himself, and he writes the messages himself, telling people, Englishmen, it's time to stand up for your rights and for your own country, by a man who's not even English and who apparently makes a connection of whiteness between himself and the English. And he could be using other tools, and he probably also is using other tools. But it is strange that he himself is there with his own name and face inciting this violence. So, yeah. This makes me think of an Arabesque song. By Arabesque, Turkish Arabesque is a genre that appeared in the late 70s, with influence especially from Lebanon, especially from Feiruz, and from a number of Syrian and Lebanese Arab artists. What makes this genre distinct is that in this genre, the lyrics are often quite painful. They talk about the pains of life, but not from a very zen, not from a very mature perspective. They will often talk about jealousy. Actually, the song that I'm gonna sing now is a song about jealousy, where the poet says to his or her lover that if anyone else should see him the way I see you, if anyone else should see you the way I see you, you would better die. So what makes the genre different from the previous genres of painful music is this rawness and unfilteredness of the pain. Whatever pain that the subject is feeling is legitimate. The subject has been wronged by the world, by her lovers, by her family, by the economy, by everyone, which actually was the case in Turkey from the mid-70s onwards. And the ways of political expression for this grievance, they were pretty much cut. And Arabesque music was almost all that was left for the society. Sakın bir söz söyleme, yüzüme bakma sakın. Sesini duyan olur, sana göz koyan olur. Sakın bir söz söyleme, yüzüme bakma sakın. Sesini duyan olur, sana göz koyan olur. Düşmanımdır seni kim bulursa canı yakın. Annen bile okşasa, benim bağrım taş olur. Düşmanımdır seni kim bulursa cana yakın. Annen bile okşasa, benim bağrım taş olur. So, don't say a word and don't look at my face, because if anyone hears your voice, they might lay their eyes on you, and that would be trouble. If they lay their eyes on you, they might want to take you away from me, and then they will become my enemy. Whoever finds you nice and close to heart is an enemy to me, and I will feel dead inside. I will feel like a stone inside. I will feel like my heart will become heavy. Even when your mother caresses you, see the level of jealousy. Oh my God. Dilerim Tanrı'dan ki sana açık kucaklar bir daha kapanmadan kara toprakla dolsun. Dilerim Tanrı'dan ki sana açık kucaklar bir daha kapanmadan kara toprakla dolsun, anmasınlar adını, bensiz anan dudaklar sana benim gözümle bakan gözler kör olsun, anmasınlar adını, bensiz anan dudaklar sana benim gözümle bakan gözler kör olsun. Anmasınlar adını, bensiz anan dudaklar sana benim gözümle bakan gözler kör olsun, anmasınlar adını, bensiz anan dudaklar sana benim gözümle bakan gözler kör olsun. Yes, whichever lips tell your name without telling mine, I hope they fill with earth, which means I hope they get buried and they stay under the ground. And those arms that open to you, I hope before they can close again, they will fill with black earth again, which means I hope they die. And whichever eyes see you like my eyes see you, I hope they become blind. Utmost jealousy and the desire for domination. This is something we see freely happening, freely expressed in the lyrics of these years, starting from the mid-70s up until the 90s, I think, more or less. It didn't last much longer, this genre. And there's this specificity with the lyrics. And somehow, this desire for domination, it seems to me that this today is being reflected. Like we see men of power, people of power, trying to do this kind of thing, you know. You either belong to me or you belong to the black earth. Actually, there is this kind of logic, you know. There is this logic of domination who wants something, you know, sometimes some people, they want something for themselves and themselves only. And they're prepared to kill and to maim if that thing seems likely to belong to someone else. This happens a lot in national wars. People not only kill another population, another identity group, but they can also go as far as to destroy all livelihood in a certain territory to make sure that no one else can live there. And sometimes I feel like people want to destroy beauty and nice feelings and love on this earth because they cannot have it and they don't want other people to have it. It feels a lot like what the rich are doing these days. Making sure that people cannot have nice things because they themselves cannot seem to have them. So riots were induced in Belfast, a group of locals thinking that they were losing sovereignty and power because of migrants, went and attacked their shops and houses for a few days and nights. What was interesting was that this happened on Twitter. This was incited on Twitter. So Twitter, the very platform that had started out with the hope that it was a new public space where people would come together, they would share opinions and ideas, very much like this Enlightenment ideal, where they believed that if only people were let free, they were allowed to come together and discuss and share ideas and share their minds freely, openly, publicly. Things would become so much better because the human mind, in its combination, used together with other people, can create wonders. And now, in the same platform, not only mobs are being induced, but generally, like overall, the general intelligence level, the general smartness on the platform seems to me to have seriously degraded. I don't know if you are on Twitter, any of you, or if you have been at any point in your lives, but like the fall of the quality of the platform, the quality of its content was so clear and so visible after the Elon Musk takeover. Like already it was a platform where there was a lot of rage bait, where there was a lot of discussion, where people just seemed to want to attack each other, but after the takeover, it became a place where you would constantly be getting the most stupid arguments brought to your face over and over again, and the most vile looking people. I don't even know if these people are real, but over and over again, the same kinds of posts would appear, which seemed to be created, to be manufactured in a certain way, in a certain style. And I noticed that many people were getting the same posts that seemed to encourage a certain conservatism, certain traditional values. The one thing I noticed was that my Twitter became much more Turkish after the Elon Musk takeover. Like, I always had, I was trying to follow people from different places and different language groups, but after the takeover I just kept seeing stuff from Turkey and stuff that I definitely was not interested in. So it was not the algorithm, it was obviously a change in the platform that wanted to make sure that I was getting a certain kind of messaging. And then I left this platform again because I couldn't stand it, and I didn't go on it until recently. So recently I was just curious about what people are saying as to what is happening in Turkish politics these days, and what are the discussions, what do they believe, what do they think. And so I went on it again, and it's such a mess. Like, it's such a mess. I understand that the algorithm does not have much information about me, or it is still trying, because it is giving me rage bait on both sides. Like, it is checking me, it's trying to farm my reactions. Like, if a certain things gives me the rage, then likely it will keep bringing that kind of information, that kind of post in front of me. Like, I see one post that says something very negative about the Kurds, and then I see another post that says something very positive about the Kurds, and like these, and all of these are from people that I don't follow or I'm not interested in. And like, the sad thing is that the whole discussion level seems to be downgraded to there. And if you happen to believe Twitter, and X with its new name, if you happen to believe what people are saying on this platform, then, you know, people are only talking about their identities. They're only ever angry about things. They are constantly wanting to lynch each other and to attack each other. And whoever makes the slightest mistake or whoever says something slightly different becomes a hero for some part and an enemy for another part of the talking society. But honestly, I don't know how much of this talking society is real. Like, generally, I have the impression that these platforms, Instagram as well, increasingly, but I think Twitter is leading this transformation right now. They are there to create an impression of publicity. They're there to make us believe that there are these other people living in the world who think like we do, who share our ideas and opinions, or who share ideas and opinions opposite to ours, and we have to fight them. And this is the world, you know? This is what people do. This is how we spend their lives if you believe them and if you go along with them. And I'm struck by how few nuanced opinions I get to see. I'm sure there are people who write nuanced opinions, who write complicated opinions, even in this format that does not allow for much complication. But the algorithm seems to, like the mechanism, whatever they are using on Twitter, seems to constantly give me things that will either make me angry or make me proud. And generally not allow for more thinking than what I'm already doing. So they are trying to get the critical thinking level to a level that is lower than what it actually is, that is for sure. But also, I have the feeling that they want identities being discussed, or at least, not at least, I would say maybe that's the case for Turkish Twitter, but I don't think so. Like, remembering all these things that I saw in the last days, checking the Belfast incidents, they want identity politics. They want people discussing identity. And this is not a coincidence. This likely is a conscious choice made by the power holders of today, because identity is a very good tool to keep people separated. Like, if you spend enough time on Twitter, which is supposed, you know, it's a platform run by a transphobe guy, you can also find trans exclusionary feminists arguing and fighting with trans-inclusive feminists. So regardless of whether the platform is supposed to be friendly to their views, people will come there with their views and fight with their views and their identities, because that's what this platform is made for. Yeah, it's quite a sad situation. It might sound too much like a conspiracy theory, but I do think that the rich, the extra powerful and the rich of today, are more aware than us of how fragile their position is and how they have to stick to power, and they have to make sure that people who do not have the power and the money that they have should not come together. That's why I think all these social media platforms, and Twitter especially, are promoting identity speech and rage bait to this extent. Because if everyone fights each other, nobody will fight them. I'll continue with another song by Ebru Gündeş. This is a song for a secret affair where she's asking her lover to keep it secret, very secret, this that is happening between them. She doesn't care who is affected by it. She doesn't care what happens. She doesn't she doesn't care about anything. Fırtınalar, let the storm take us. Let there be storm, let there be rain, let there be a hurricane, because all I care for is you. We might lie to everyone else, it's okay. We can deceive everyone else, because all I care for is my own desire for the thing that I want, which is you. Bir dost gibi davran bana. Herkes bizi öyle bilsin. Bugün burada bütün olanlar saklı gizli sürüp gitsin. Bir dost gibi davran bana. Herkes bizi öyle bilsin. Bugün burada bütün olanlar saklı gizli sürüp gitsin. Fırtınalar koparsa kopsun, sürüklesin ikimizi, arzular tutuştursun bizi. Razıyım sonuna senle olsun. Fırtınalar koparsa kopsun, sürüklesin ikimizi, arzular tutuştursun bizi. Razıyım sonuna senle olsun. Ben sana öylesi taptım inan. Böylesi aşka yasak tanımam. Deliler gibiyim, anla biraz. Aklımı yolda bıraktım inan. Ben sana öylesi taptım inan. Böylesi aşka yasak tanımam. Deliler gibiyim, anla biraz. Aklımı yolda bıraktım inan. Bir dost gibi davran bana. Herkes bizi öyle bilsin. Bugün burada bütün olanlar saklı gizli sürüp gitsin. Bir dost gibi davran bana. Herkes bizi öyle bilsin. Bugün burada bütün olanlar saklı gizli sürüp gitsin. Fırtınalar koparsa kopsun, sürüklesin ikimizi. Arzular tutuştursun bizi. Razıyım sonuna senle olsun. Ben sana öylesi taptım inan. Böylesi aşka yasak tanımam. Deliler gibiyim anla biraz. Aklımı yolda bıraktım inan. Ben sana öylesi taptım inan. I like you so much that I don't care about anything else. I want you so much that I don't care about anything else. It sounds good, but that's not what social life is made of. It's good to think about the consequences of your actions. Anyways, as you know, the World Cup has also started. And, what is the World Cup if people cannot argue around it? All these public events they make sense together with the public discussion that they create. Eurovision was one such thing. It's not much of it anymore. And the World Cup also is one such thing at the moment. I don't like football. I'm not following it. But to my knowledge, the Turkish team is not doing very well, and people just want things to talk about, and they find their material on social media. So on Twitter, some Australian guy apparently there was the image of a Turkish boy wearing the uniform of the Turkish football team, crying upon the team's defeat because he's 10 years old and he's sad. If you're 10 years old, it's okay to be sad for a football team losing. Understandable. And an Australian guy who is like 20 or 30 something has quoted the picture of this guy, of this child, and has written under it that he was in a bar with Australian football supporters, and when they saw the image of this young boy crying, they cheered. Like a bar full of people cheered, they were happy, and that he had never felt so proud as an Australian. Now, obviously this is rage bait, obviously. I actually went and checked the guy's profile, and he has written the exact same thing for another team, not a national team. But again, he quotes the picture of a crying boy, a boy that is once again chubby and 10 years old. But this time it's 2 Australian teams playing or 2 English teams playing, I don't know. And he says he's in a bar of this team's supporters. And when they see the image of this boy crying, this boy supporting the opponent team crying, the whole crowd in the bar cheered, and he had never felt so proud as the supporter of that team. I don't remember the name now. So obviously the guy, just like I'm doing this format where I come here and sing to you and tell stories every week, this guy has this format of a tweet where he takes the image of a chubby boy crying over a losing football team, and he writes under it that he had never been this proud in the name of this or that identity because they were happy about a crying boy. But Twitter, the platform, makes you see this stupid tweet. And like maybe 60,000 Turkish people had responded to this tweet, and like they felt the need to refer to the First World War. Other people felt the need to refer to this war, you know, Australians, English, imperialism, colonialism, you know, slavery. All these things are brought to the table because of this one stupid tweet by a stupid guy who's probably not a very significant person in normal life, but in Twitter he becomes super significant because his tweet is the ultimate rage bait for Turkish people at this moment right now, especially in the context of football, and they go crazy, you know, they want to respond to it, they want to, you know, react, show that they're there. And it looks like these are harmless things, but they actually are quite harmful, because a lot of those Turkish people who responded to this tweet, or who did not respond to it but just saw it and left it there, are now left thinking like they are thinking that out there are such horrible people as the Australians who are cheering over a boy crying, and especially they're cheering over the specific boy because he is Turkish, and therefore the whole world is filled with enemies of us. And we have to defend ourselves, we have to support people who are like us because the outside world is enemy. They want our bad. And this feeling is reinforced over and over again daily if you're hanging out in social media, and especially if you're hanging out in Twitter. Like Instagram, I'm still trying to figure out how its algorithm works, but you know, if you do rage bait, it brings you more rage bait. So one thing to do, like if you don't want to see rage bait, if you don't want to get angry while on social media, you do not react to things that make you angry, and the algorithm won't bring you more of them. But on Twitter, I have the impression that the algorithm is trying to make you angry. Like they want you fuming, they want you reacting, they want you shouting. And as such, I think Twitter per se is an obstacle for world peace. Like they actively try to prohibit and hinder peaceful attitudes while encouraging belligerent ones, while amplifying all of these messages of hate and division. And I'm quite sure this is done on purpose. Yeah. So time is running, and I want to sing you another song. Another song of jealousy and envy. A song that says it should have been me. Not it's gotta be me. Not it will be me. It should have been me. I was the one who deserved your love. I should have been the one, your one and only. Nobody else should ever have entered your heart. I should have been the one that you wished from God. It should have been me. It should have been me. It always and only should have been me. O sevgi en başta benim hakkımdı. Biricik sevdiğin ben olmalıydım. O sevgi en başta benim hakkımdı. Biricik sevdiğin ben olmalıydım. Gönlüne başkası girmemeliydi. Tanrı'dan dileğin ben olmalıydım. Ben olmalıydım, ben olmalıydım. Sevilen, özlenen ben olmalıydım. Gönlüne başkası girmemeliydi. Tanrı'dan dileğin ben olmalıydım. Ellerin elimde buluşmalıydı. Gözlerin gözümde konuşmalıydı. Kalbin tek kalbimle anlaşmalıydı. Boynuna sarılan ben olmalıydım. Kalbim tek kalbimle anlaşmalıydı. Boynuna sarılan ben olmalıydım. Ben olmalıydım, ben olmalıydım. Sevilen, özlenen ben olmalıydım. Seni bir başkası sevmemeliydi. Kalbinin sahibi ben olmalıydım. Ben olmalıydım, ben olmalıydım. Sevilen, özlenen ben olmalıydım. Gönlüne başkası girmemeliydi. Sevilen, özlenen ben olmalıydım. It should have been me, and it shouldn't be anyone else. This is the attitude of the elites in the age of democratic rule. You know, in today's world, we just assume that our leaders should resemble us. Therefore, anyone who wants political power has to argue today that he is the one who resembles us. It should have been him and nobody else. And it is him who deserves that role because he looks like us. It is him that deserves, for Elon Musk, for instance. It should have been him. It should be him who is running the UK because he looks like them. And if he cannot be the one running the UK, he wants to make sure that he will ruin it for everyone. So, dear friends, as I'm closing my show today, I would like to warn you to be very careful about what you consume on social media and where you put your rage and your anger and your emotions. Because these are our capital, our attention and our emotions. Thank you for listening to me today. I'm hoping to have other interesting subjects by next week, and maybe better internet. And if you speak Turkish or just want to listen to a language that you don't understand and some songs, join me tomorrow night as well. I'll be here speaking Turkish and singing songs in Greek tomorrow. And next week on Monday again, speaking to you here in English with another interesting subject. Take care. All the love from Istanbul. Bye.